We've all had that moment where the heart pounds and the brain freezes, just thinking about talking to an attractive person or a stranger. Today, we are looking at 3 specific psychological techniques designed to dismantle that approach anxiety, helping you confidently initiate conversations in any environment. By applying these steps in a specific chronological sequence, you can bypass the tendency to overthink and reduce the friction that leads to awkward silences. This anxiety stems from a predictable biological mechanism rather than a fixed character flaw, and like any mechanism, it can be managed with the right mental toolkit. This diagram shows a cross-section of the human brain, highlighting the amygdala in red. Biologically, the tension you feel before an approach is triggered right here in your brain's fear center. A couple of the biological details I'm sharing today are from outside of our usual sources, so you may want to independently verify them. Look at this side-by-side comparison chart. The physical symptoms of this fight or flight response are nearly identical to the symptoms of excitement. To manage this surge, you must train the brain to shift its focus away from the threat toward a positive outcome. The best way to do this requires preparation. Commit to taking 10 minutes a day for a meditation practice before you head out. Regular meditation trains the brain to recognize specific thoughts as they arise and choose which ones to prioritize. By building this headspace, you develop the ability to acknowledge the urge to panic while leaning into the physiological energy of meeting someone new. The biological surge of energy is inevitable, but directing your focus transforms that nervous tension into the fuel needed to initiate the approach. Transitioning to the interaction itself, a common barrier is the fear of blanking out or getting trapped in a long silence. You can lower the pressure of finding a perfect opening line by using a non sequitur. A non sequitur involves making a direct assumption about a stranger. For example, you might walk up and say, "You look like you have a big family." This approach creates a sense of curiosity, encouraging the listener to either correct your assumption or expand on it. Once the conversation begins, you need a safety net, a roadmap known as F.O.R.D. These represent 4 reliable pillars of conversation: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. An assumption about a big family leads directly into the first topic, providing a clear path forward. Keeping these topics in mind ensures you always have a logical place to take the conversation. Establishing this structure helps mitigate the fear of silence, allowing you to focus on listening rather than searching for your next sentence. The final hurdle is the brief window of time where the brain begins to invent excuses to hesitate. To bypass this hesitation, use the 3-second rule. As shown by this timer, the goal is to physically move toward the person within 3 seconds of making eye contact. Passive knowledge of these concepts is only useful if it leads to physical application. To see real results, execution is the necessary metric. You simply have to move from observation to action. Delaying the approach often leads to rumination, leaving you to wonder later that night if an opportunity was missed. Forcing movement within that 3-second window ensures you act before your internal narrative can create a reason to stop. You now have a system to reframe the fear, a roadmap to guide the dialogue, and a trigger to force action. The next step is to put this into practice. Try to execute this process at least once tomorrow. If these techniques provided a clear path for your social goals, please click the like button. Share your own experiences or any additional methods you use to navigate social anxiety in the comments below. Thank you for watching. For more videos that turn behavioral concepts into actionable systems, be sure to subscribe.